Blessed Soulful Sunday, peoples. It is Michelle King coming back at you. Excited about it, excited about the content that I have to share on today. It is very important, per usual. Anything that I bring to you will be important because that's just who I am. I love to bring about knowledge and wisdom and understanding to topics that are near and dear to my heart, especially when it comes to health and wellness. So again, registered nurse, I've worked in the healthcare industry as a professional for now, almost 36 years. And I truly believe that the work that I do is not just within, it's not constrained just to the walls, of healthcare, but definitely taking a step outside the walls of healthcare and into the different communities that are before us, that I can present, content and subject matter that sometimes people just don't want to talk about, or we, just feel like no one cares, or is what I'm thinking or would like to talk about even relevant enough? Sure it is. So my goal is to cover A through Z in regards to different topics. So for instance, one of the first ones that I spoke on already is advocacy, and the second one is Alzheimer's and dementia. Advocacy, just touching on that again real quickly, is extremely important now more than ever. And it just has to do with you speaking up for yourself and, any loved one that you may be appointed to care over that individual, whether it's a parent or a grandparent, next door neighbor. We tend to lose our, physical health and things like that. And you just sometimes may need to be that one that's going to advocate for an individual when they can't speak for themselves. But most definitely on the daily, you should be speaking up for yourself and being assertive. Alzheimer's disease and dementia, you can go back and listen to that video as well. The gradual decline in, cognitive, abilities and stuff. And these things are very important. And again, we need to start addressing things a lot sooner than later. And just know that it is okay to take care of you, and that it is a must that you take care of yourself. But again, on today, it was asked of me that we would speak on another subject that begins with the letter A, and it is anxiety. Anxiety. So you all are aware, just like I'm aware, of all the different things that are currently taking place in the world, in our news, on social media, and even still, you have to pay attention to also just the fear mongering that takes place along with it, subliminally. So anxiety would be huge right now, but do know, troubled times have always been here. Troubled times are not nothing new. But we must, I believe, prepare ourselves and as much as we can, so that we can be fitting for the race, to continue to be able to be of assistance, not just for yourself, but for your neighbor, for your loved ones, and on your job. But the subject again today, though, would be on anxiety, which is huge. It is huge. And let's address it. And so, of course, my information that I provide to you is AI generated. I am a firm believer of AI being a resource to help you jog your mind or memory in regards to what it is that you have in your heart to say. But you should be well versed in the subject matter that you bring forth, or just don't say anything or go and get more research. So when I come and present anything on any of my videos, it's not to diagnose anyone, it's not to treat anyone, but to share in my growth and evolving from day to day, because it's for all of us. My brand says it all: soulful nutrition and wellness, mind, body, spirit. It's about you caring for the whole you. Our body works in one unit, in one it's all in tandem, and so it is important to care for the whole you. So that's what the brand is all about. And me being a registered nurse and working in healthcare for almost 36 years of my life, I just can't help but share all the things that I know that is good for the peoples. So anyway, back to anxiety, AI generated information, but I definitely will share personal experiences and things as they come forth throughout this video. Anxiety, a feeling of unease, worry, or fear, often described as apprehension or nervousness. It can be a normal reaction to stress. But there's the other side, where it can range from mild to severe, and in some cases can be a sign of an anxiety disorder. Anxiety can manifest as both psychological, or you can have physical symptoms. So the difference between just regular basic anxiety is you're in a speech class and you're preparing for the speech that you have to present, and it needs to be 10 minutes long, and you don't like speaking in front of crowds or a group of people or in front of the class. I'm sure most of us have been there, especially, if you've taken college courses and things of that nature. It's just a part of your, gen eds to be able to know what that would look like publicly speaking and preparing to publicly speak. Well, that can cause you some anxiety. But in severe cases, you just kind of live in an anxious state, which brings about the anxiety disorder. Anxiety disorders would have to be diagnosed by a professional, so psychologist, or I would assume some sort of therapist, to be able to get the help that you need in regards to an anxiety disorder. So one that comes to mind is maybe obsessive compulsive, the constant checking the doorknob, or the washing of your hands, or whatever that may be. But certain anxiety disorders, or shall I say, when it becomes an anxiety disorder, should be diagnosed so that you can get the proper assistance to possibly overcome that anxiety and get to the root cause of it. So you got your mild cases, severe cases, and then you just got your normal, oh, I'm anxious because I'm gonna meet this new guy tonight or something like that. Okay. So key aspects of anxiety: normal versus disorder. Occasional feelings of anxiety are normal, and it may even be helpful in motivating you to prepare for future challenges, it says here. So, you got a speech class, but that you need to not only just get your grade, but, go in here and present on today. What I did one time, speaking of a speech class, I actually presented braided extensions, so I brought in a braided hair. I picked someone out of the classroom that I could use to, show and demonstrate just, how you would add these extensions. And I also put extensions in my own, head as a finished product, for that, that speech. And so, as you would know, rocked it. Nervous and all, rocked it. Was I anxious? Yes, but I made it through it. And now look, today, here I am creating content to, bring to you all by faith and experience, education, knowledge, wisdom, and it's for those that want it. So going back to key aspects of anxiety, symptoms of anxiety: emotional, feeling nervous, restless, tense, having a sense of impending doom or danger. Physical, increased heart rate, rapid breathing, hyperventilation, you're panting, sweating, trembling, and fatigue. Cognitive, difficulty concentrating, trouble sleeping, and uncontrollable worry. So it makes me think about, when we get up in the mornings and first thing we want to do is make coffee and, just drink plenty of coffee before going. And so, or whatever it is that you drink, whether it's Mountain Dew, and, we want to prepare, for our day because we have to get up and go to work. Well, perhaps your coffee, because maybe it's too much, is causing you to appear to have tremors, because it's too much caffeine and you haven't eaten anything, and now you're having to perform on your job, and so you have an appearance of being anxious when maybe there's just an imbalance because there's just too much caffeine. So that goes along with physical as well. So you appear nervous, you are nervous, now you got heart palpitations and becoming fatigued, especially if you're doing this every day. So cognitive, it definitely would affect your thinking as well, especially because you got other things on your mind. You got unhealed trauma, which those things are causing you anxiety as well. So then it's just compiled and just layers within you that need to be dealt with. So this thing is mind, body, spirit, and it's just full circle from the time that you're trying to rest, get up, start your day, go through your day, take care of the kids after, working your 9 to 5, and then having that time to take care of yourself as well. It all brings anxiety. And don't forget, because you turned on the news that day. Yep. So symptoms: emotional, physical, cognitive. Causes of anxiety can be, of course, stress, traumatic experiences, and genetic predisposition. So if you are now in your 40s and you finally get wind that your grandma that passed away in her 90s, had anxiety issues or issues of depression and has been on medication all of her life, and then all of her siblings were on antipsychotics and things of that nature, and it just so happened that you are blessed to not be in that same boat, but there is that predisposition that, Grandma Bessie was on it, so then my mama was on it, and I did some lifestyle changes, and so I'm not on it, So yeah, you got to pay attention to heredity, and just as the Bible calls it, bloodline curses and things like that. I think all those things are relevant. Types of anxiety: generalized anxiety disorder, so GAD, panic disorders, social anxiety disorders. I had someone tell me at work the other day they had a panic attack, and how it debilitated them for that day. Just people tend to end up having to go home, leave work, clock out because of anxiety. Then you have, again, social media and the fear mongering that goes on within our media, and the news that's being broadcasted to us. Everything is just so heightened with fear. So how do you protect you and your surroundings and your loved ones from not being overwhelmed with all of this anxiety, all of this news that doesn't seem conducive to your well-being? You got to have boundaries. Got to protect you, your time, your space, your ears, your eye gates. You have to protect you at all cost. And begin to take in the things that will help to build you up, build your home up, build your neighborhood up, build your community up. It's possible. Love will always overturn evil, bad. Love will always overturn. God is love. As a matter of fact, you know, God is love, and love will always, the light will always overcome the darkness. So yeah, all of this is an inside job. You know, when it comes to anxiety and stuff, it's an inside job. So generalized anxiety is one thing, but then you have anxiety in all different types of ethnic groups and their experiences that we just don't even know, you know, anything about, whether it's cultural, whether it's religious based, ethics, you know. There's different anxieties within different cultures. So with that being said, I want to speak about anxiety and being Black, because that is who I've been my whole life. So I had the blessed opportunity of growing up in the 70s, and I could recall in third grade at the age of 9 with pigtails being spat on by the neighbor kid. And this was during a time where Roots, the original Roots, was playing on television, and it was on 7-8 days, and you anticipated, you know, watching it every day because the family was going to end up watching it. But how scary to those that were people of color, and you know, and knowing the history, you know, of this nation and its inception and conception. You know, we won't get into that because that's topics for later down the line. But right now, talking about anxiety and, you know, being Black in America all the way up until today. If I recall, in the 70s, I was born directly after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. And then in the 70s, all that I did make witness of in regards to racism and things of that nature, and then for it to still be the same way in 2025 is it's bewildering. It's I just can't believe it that after all this time, this division is still pushed, you know, with the different nations of people that exist. So anyway, being Black in America, this information here, again, AI overview, it says that in 2025, anxiety remains a significant concern within the Black community, compounded by systemic factors like racism and discrimination, which contributes to mental health disparities. Check this out though. While some studies indicate that rates of anxiety disorders may be similar or slightly lower in the Black community, similar or slightly lower in the Black community compared to other groups. The burdens of disability, though, these disorders can be disproportionately high. So it may be lower in the Black community because, first of all, we've been dealing with it our whole life. So you know what I'm saying? We don't know nothing different. We don't know, but, you know, again, the racism factor, we don't know nothing but divisiveness, barbarism, even toward ourselves, like crabs in a bucket. And it is like time for all of this to like dissipate. It is time for this thing to be healed, because at this point in my life, it's just outright annoying because I'm not bothering anyone and I love God's people. So why should this continue to take place within the Black community? Just all the division and things of that nature. So anyway, it causes anxiety, known or not. It's causing anxiety in the community and within the bloodline, and it needs to be addressed. Factors contributing to anxiety in the Black community are racial discrimination and trauma, PTSD, so post-traumatic stress disorder. Black people tend to be apprehensive about going and having treatment with, with their PCP, so, their physicians, or just seeking help when needed because of the mistrust. And so with that being mentioned, the Tuskegee Airmen that were used and inoculated with syphilis, and we're supposed to act as if that never happened and still gain this trust with those, that come from the same group, ethnic group, whatever, that we were abused by. That doesn't sit well. And then all this racism is just kind of swept under the rug. And so you have, a Black people, a people of color, African Americans that are living with this anxiety every day. So, your typical police stop is going to look different than our white counterparts. It just is what it is. Like my anxiety when a cop car is pulling up or behind me, or my thinking that cop car is going to pull up behind me, no one likes how that feels. It causes anxiety for all of us, I'm sure, just because of what we see and hear on the news. But when you're someone of color, I don't know how to explain to you the anxiety that you feel within your body, but talking about an adrenaline rush. So yes, anxiety in the Black community, systemic barriers to care. So I just kind of talked about that. Just, whether it's just not even having proper insurance coverage, or whether it's the color of your skin, whether, it's because there's just not enough information and resources within the area you live in, systemic barriers to care. Also, you have historical trauma and mistrust, which we kind of already spoke, on that in regards to Tuskegee Airmen. And then social and economic factors, so just living in poverty, lack of opportunity, exposure to, violence on the daily, and just exacerbated mental health challenges, which include anxiety. Stigma and cultural norms. So yeah, it's one thing to, have anxiety because of, again, trauma, unaddressed childhood, things that you have experienced. Then you got, anxiety from, health diagnoses or lack thereof. Then you have your anxieties of just, how am I going to make it every day? It is said that I just heard last week, I think it was 75% of America lives from paycheck to paycheck. And this is the land flowing with milk and honey. This is a very industrialized, nation. And I speak from the fact that I live here in America. I don't know anything about any other country. So I can only speak about what, my experiences are, and my peers, what my children, what we all have experienced while living here. And I must say, you have to stay on your grind. You got to get in where you fit in. You understand what I'm saying? So, addressing anxiety in the Black community. So addressing anxiety in general is important, but I think I'm going to, wait for the next video to talk about things that we can do to kind of either eliminate or reduce, what we go through when it comes to anxiety, because, stress is, one of the, number one, number two, number three, but high up there in the list of things that can take you out of here. And so we all kind of live within, a stressful system. And we will talk about things that we can do to help eliminate or reduce anxiety in our life on the next video. But I want to touch on how anxiety disorders affect the body. So real quick, insomnia. Just have problems sleeping at night. It said we should get anywhere between 7-8 hours of sleep, turning off the phones and the blue lights and things of that nature. And sleep, again, is a time where your body has the opportunity to heal. I know there's people that say, well, I just get 4 hours of sleep a night and that's all I need. And if that's all that you need and that works for you, that's fine. Me personally, I like to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. I've trained myself to be that way. I've always read and heard that it is best that you give yourself that time to rest, again, because that's the time that your body is in a relaxed state and healing. Now, mind you, I'm still busy while I'm sleeping, so I'm still dreaming and, figuring and factoring in my sleep. And I think they call that the rapid eye movement, the REM sleep. But I get restful sleep 99.8% of the time. So insomnia is one of the things that can be a sign of anxiety. Fast heartbeat. Does your fast heartbeat come from because you've drank too much caffeine? Does it come from the fact that you have an undiagnosed hyperthyroid condition? Because, fast heartbeat, palpitations, things like that can be a sign of a thyroid issue. So we all must look at our endocrine system and our hormonal health to see if perhaps those are the reasons why you have some of these symptoms that appear to be anxiety, and it just could be hormonal imbalances. But that's between, you and your doctor, and always remember to consult your doctor in regards to your health, okay? Sweating's another symptom of, like say for instance, a hyperthyroid symptom, and I have dealt with hyperthyroidism. That's why I can speak to it, because I know what that looks like on a personal level. But also, are you in perimenopause? Is that what's causing your night sweats? So again, it's about digging deep and looking into what it is that you need, and assessing why you're going through what you're going through. Shaking or twitching, just nervousness. If you know that your auntie went from being a very calm, cool, collected woman, and you've seen her as that, just a godly woman all your life, and now she's got, shaking and twitching, and she's gone through some things that she totally does not want to talk about or speak about, but that she's going through these things. Perhaps that's what's causing the anxiety. So how we talk to people, how we address people, our tone and things like that can be intimidating, and that can cause the next person to have anxiety, and it's not nice. It's not nice. We need to be nice to one another. Headaches. Is your headaches because you're not getting enough sleep and you got fast heart beating and your hormones are off and you're just not eating enough? Did you not have coffee that morning, so now you got a caffeine headache? Are you dehydrated? Do you have enough fluids within your system so that your organs can get the H2O, the water that they need, H2O, hydrogen and oxygen, to go to your cells and your organs? Is that what's causing your headache? Maybe you just need to drink more water and less colored bottled drinks or something like that. You know what I mean? And it's for who, I'm not throwing anything personal out there to anybody, but this is what I do, and it's for me too. You know what I mean? I have to do just like you. So fatigue, you're just tired because all that's going on. So, exhaustion, and then you're anxious from past stuff that happened that you don't talk about. And then that causes anxiety because you're trying to utilize some sort of energy and strength to keep from talking about it your whole life. So that's causing anxiety too, and no one knows about it but you and the person that did it. Shortness of breath, and digestive problems, constipation, diarrhea, bowels just all, just all over the place. Just, you are not experiencing homeostasis, just having, complete balance within and without. So those are the anxiety disorders effect. If you need to listen to this video again, and make sure that you have paper and pen to write down notes that could benefit you so that you can look at it later. I'm never been really a good task taker. I get it done, even if it takes me a couple of times. But writing things down is a way that helps me to remember what it is that I need to retain. Some people may need to hear it over and over again. So again, if you need to listen to this video again, then I would do so. Anxiety is big. We can, have probably multiple videos talking about anxiety. I do plan on, again, on the next video to discussing things that we can do to help reduce anxiety or possibly just get rid of it altogether. Yeah, so again, I will be presenting videos on narcissism, the calculated steps, and why we are driven and drawn to a narcissist. I do have a book available that I've published. It is available on Amazon along with a journal, Creepy in all caps, The Unveiling of a Narcissist. And then again, the journal is available as well. The links are in my description if you would like to take a look at that. I don't have the books right in front of me. You would think that I would, but that's okay. I'll have them on the next video. So also soulful-store.com, soulful-store.com. Creepy, The Unveiling of a Narcissist is available in the store as an ebook for those that would just rather do that versus having a physical copy. I think it would be best to have the physical copy though. The book is filled with nothing but love. Don't let the cover fool you. Don't judge a book by its cover. The book is filled with nothing but love and healing. Always make sure that you utilize the resources that are available to you, whether it's mental health resources, NAMI, National Alliance for Mental Illnesses, NAMI. I plan on becoming a part of that and getting out here into the community and just helping people on all aspects. And so, yeah, you utilize your resources. Make sure you are going to your annual visits with your physician. Make sure that you are advocating for yourself, coming with your questions. And yeah, gosh, God bless. I love you. Have an amazing week. Peace out.